it appears that there is more and more fire and smoke enveloping the very top of the building. And as fire crews are descending on this area, it does not appear that there's any kind of an effort up there yet. Now remember, oh my God.
Oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
I did not see a plane go in. That just exploded.
We just saw another plane coming in from the side.
You did. That was out of
Yes, and that's
view.
the second explosion. You could see the plane come in just from the right-hand side of the screen. So this looks like it is some sort of a concerted effort to attack the World Trade Center that is underway in downtown New York.
Did you hear the explosion from your position?
Yes, we did. As a matter of fact, we heard it, and because I was just like standing there pretty much looking out the window, I didn't see what caused it or if there was an impact.
So you have no idea right now?
There's another one. Another plane just hit. Right. Oh my gosh. Another plane has just hit. It hit another building. Flew right into the middle of it. Explosion. My God, it's right in the middle of the building.
As you look at the picture from our chopper now arriving at the scene, Jim Friedel in Hoboken said it appeared to bank sharply and smash directly, perhaps purposefully, into, oh my goodness,
oh God,
there's another one. Oh my goodness, there's another one.
This seems to be on purpose.
Oh my goodness, now it's obvious, I think, that there's a second plane just crashed into the World Trade Center.
We'll try to get a better vantage point and see what we can see on the ground. It's a little difficult from the air because the buildings kind of shadow the streets, but no doubt a lot of activity on the ground right now.
From inside. If you're taking a look now, you can see that we've just had another explosion, and that is considerably lower. And is that in the other building? Is that what I'm witnessing?
That apparently does look like it is in the other building at this point.
You're watching WCVB TV Boston. Good morning. This is News Center 5 Eye Opener.
Are haunting reminders of tragedy, inspiring examples of heroics at every turn. The National September 11th Memorial Museum opens tomorrow, nearly 13 years after the attacks.
News Center 5's Mary Saladna is live in Boston tonight. Mary, you talked with a local family who will be there. That's right, Heather and Ed, and you know, 206 people with Massachusetts ties died on 9/11. Their names are carved in marble here in the public garden. Tonight, those families are bracing for yet another emotional milestone. I don't know how to explain how I feel about going there. Christy Coombs of Abington lost her husband Jeff on the first plane to hit the towers. Tomorrow, she and son Matthew will gratefully attend the dedication for the September 11th Memorial Museum, having been awarded tickets lottery style. But Coombs predicts actually touring this haunting time capsule will be gut-wrenching. They told you what it's going to be like when you walk in. You're going to be hearing voices of various people.
Someone barged in and said, "Oh my God."
I'm sure they're first responders, people calling from the planes. And then there are the human stories and the artifacts. The concrete stairs survivors used as an escape route. Big Red, the fire truck of Ladder 3, which lost 11 firefighters that day. Remnants of all 4 planes. And among it all, the twisted, melted steel of the Twin Towers themselves. And when you see what massive pieces of steel went through and what's left of them, it really makes you stop and think what really happened to the people that were there, including my husband. And other Massachusetts families will be making the trip to New York to visit the museum this weekend. For 5 days, it will be open only to them and first responders.
Good evening. Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. The victims were in airplanes or in their offices. Secretaries, businessmen and women, military and federal workers, moms and dads, friends and neighbors. Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror. The pictures of airplanes flying into buildings, fires burning, huge structures collapsing, have filled us with disbelief, terrible sadness, and a quiet, unyielding anger. These acts of mass murder were intended to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat. But they have failed. Our country is strong. A great people has been moved to defend a great nation. Terrorist attacks can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings, but they cannot touch the foundation of America. These acts shattered steel, but they cannot dent the steel of American resolve. America was targeted for attack because we're the brightest beacon for freedom and opportunity in the world, and no one will keep that light from shining. Today, our nation saw evil, the very worst of human nature, and we responded with the best of America, with the daring of our rescue workers, with the caring for strangers and neighbors who came to give blood and help in any way they could. Immediately following the first attack, I implemented our government's emergency response plans. Our military is powerful, and it's prepared. Our emergency teams are working in New York City and Washington, D.C. to help with local rescue efforts. Our first priority is to get help to those who have been injured and to take every precaution to protect our citizens at home and around the world from further attacks. The functions of our government continue without interruption. Federal agencies in Washington, which had to be evacuated today, are reopening for essential personnel tonight and will be open for business tomorrow. Our financial institutions remain strong, and the American economy will be open for business as well. The search is underway for those who are behind these evil acts. I've directed the full resources of our intelligence and law enforcement communities to find those responsible and to bring them to justice. We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them. I appreciate so very much the members of Congress who have joined me in strongly condemning these attacks. And on behalf of the American people, I thank the many world leaders who have called to offer their condolences and assistance. America and our friends and allies join with all those who want peace and security in the world, and we stand together to win the war against terrorism. Tonight, I ask for your prayers for all those who grieve, for the children whose worlds have been shattered, for all whose sense of safety and security has been threatened. And I pray they will be comforted by a power greater than any of us, spoken through the ages in Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. This is a day when all Americans from every walk of life unite in our resolve for justice and peace. America has stood down enemies before, and we will do so this time. None of us will ever forget this day, yet we go forward to defend freedom and all that is good and just in our world.
I was sitting at my desk working, and I had the Today Show on behind me, and I just heard confusion in Katie Couric and Matt Lauer's voice.
It was just one of those days I'll never forget as a journalist because it was so busy and so unpredictable.
It was weird to see that because, again, it was that thought of, what did I just see? It looked like I just saw a plane crash into one of the buildings.
After the second plane hit, the AP wire was just pouring with stuff. As much as you wanted to hang on to that belief or just believe that it wasn't on purpose, at that point you knew something was going on.
Like all of us, it was the first moment I thought, oh, we're not 100% safe. You know, we are vulnerable.
I think everybody was asking, are we safe?
It's one of the few times I was like, I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what we're going to say. I don't know how we can make people feel better.
It was more of a shock. I can't believe this is happening, but now I have to work.
We took live calls that day from the desk. My co-anchor and I sat here and allowed people to call and share their thoughts, and it was pretty heartbreaking.
Our general manager pulled me in and said, I'm sending you to New York City to cover 9/11. We literally got out of a cab and walked around, and there's, you know, all these makeshift memorials where people were leaving teddy bears and candles and signs, and a lot of them were signs with pictures of people that said, if you find me, send me home.
I don't think it actually hit me until about a week later. I was at 42nd and Grandview, and there was a little field right there in front of the bank building just filled with flags, and I just started crying.
I came into my 9th grade second period class, and that's whenever we just found out the second plane hit.
A teacher ran in the room and said, turn on the TV, turn on the TV.
You're just watching a teacher cry her eyes out, and you didn't know what was going on, you didn't know if it was appropriate to ask. Everyone's still waiting with this level of uncertainty about what just happened today.
Tyranny is enveloping the globe, and the United States is a shining jewel the globalists want to bring down, and they will use terrorism as the pretext to get it done. Tell them, look, we've seen the news stories that you've wanted to blow things up, that you have blown things up, and that you're saying that 4 million of us are going to die and we need martial law and the Associated Press. You know Oklahoma City and World Trade Center was terrorism. We know the Joint Chiefs of Staff wanted to blow up airliners, Baltimore Sun. If you do it, we're going to blame you because we know who's up to it. Or if you let some terrorist group do it, like the World Trade Center, we know who to blame. And you could save the planet. I'm calling it Operation Expose the Government Terror.
Seen anything like it. The devastation, the human life that's been just wasted for no reason whatsoever. It is a terrible scene. It's a terrible sight. But New York is a very strong and resilient, and they'll rebuild quickly.
you.